Hi there. This is a reading for the collective. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Today we're going to talk about what you're ashamed of, okay? And maybe trigger warning because this is a tough topic. I feel like there's quite a few different things you can be ashamed of, but like I say, as always, take what resonates. Maybe you'll only, resonate with one or two things. Who knows? That's why we're here. I feel like one of the things that's coming through even before I pull cards is like you're ashamed of how you show up in the world, something obviously specific, and it could be tied to your past as well. Maybe there's something you haven't quite healed yet. Hey, excuse me. They're never talking until I get on here. But I feel like this was a learned thing through your childhood, and maybe somebody made you feel ashamed about it. Right before I said that, the birds got loud, so that feels significant. And maybe it's nothing you need to be ashamed of. Maybe it's just who you are, and it's actually a good thing, is kind of what I'm feeling. See if anything else wants to come through before the cards. There might be something that, like with your appearance, that you're ashamed of. Maybe it's something out of your control, though. Maybe you got bullied or something about it. Or maybe you bullied yourself even, not anybody saying anything to you. But it might be something that you can fix. Release. Fix or release. I feel like you're ashamed if you don't do enough, or what your expectation of enough is. You're ashamed if you don't get something just right, like perfect. There's a thing about being ashamed of how you were treated or how you let people treat you in the past. Maybe not so much anymore, but you're holding on to that for sure. Like letting people take advantage of you is coming up right now. Yeah, like that sage again. I'm getting anxiety. What was I talking about? Like people taking advantage of you. You're ashamed of. You might be ashamed of. You might be ashamed of your money situation, like not using your best judgment about money. That's been coming up a lot. Like money's been coming up a lot, but it's been coming up in a good way. Like today it didn't because, it's a shame piece, but money, I feel like relationships with money are healing. So that's a really good thing. We love to see it. You're ashamed at like how you move on from things. Like, how do I explain it? You might not stick it out for the long haul. Like your commitment Your commitment to things might be a little bit wishy-washy, especially if it's like important, something important. Yeah. These animals are going to be the death of me sometimes, or one day. Five of Pentacles. That's loss. But what does it mean reverse? I feel like there's something very significant with this. Oh my God, financial recovery, rebuilding wealth, perseverance. Okay. See, it's funny, we started with money in this reading and then ended with money, but in a positive way. So, you really need to work on your shame with money. That's one thing that's kind of holding you where you're at. I feel like if you resonate with that, that's something that's holding you back. It could be, it doesn't have to be money. It could be anything, really. Trusting your judgment. Well, I was talking about people, right? So maybe you have shame around how you've handled people in the past, so letting them take advantage of you, and now you're recovering and like building healthy foundations with the right kind of people. But it could literally be anything. But I feel like a lot of you will probably resonate with the money piece for sure. Shame. Where do we want to go next? I guess we're going here. I was going to go, well, I might still go over there too. Wow, we got 3 major arcana. That's, change is coming. Change is inevitable. I am inevitable. Yes. Okay, there's shame around the recovery, like being successful. There's shame around that for some reason. Earth angel, will you be mine? I pulled that card yesterday. I did just a little reading and pulled that one. You are Earth Angel. I knew that was going to come out. Documents. To go there. Well, that's right. I am going to pull those. I forgot. Some of you are, what was I thinking? What was it about? Some of you are ashamed of like contracts that you have with people, or like this could be tied to money, contracts that you maybe had no business trying to fulfill or trying to set up, and you did it anyway, like you knew it wasn't a good idea. Like could be like a car or something like that. Oh, I need to put that over there. Unbothered, reversed. It's funny, I was just talking about this the other day. Some of you are ashamed. There's a lot of shame, my goodness. I knew there was going to be. Some of you are ashamed of like allowing people to get under your skin, Like maybe you pretend like you don't care, but you actually really truly do care what people think still. That's a hard like habit, I feel like, to break, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to be judged. And it doesn't matter if you like the person or not, it still feels icky. So there's definitely some shame at like caring too much about, like thinking too much even about somebody that you don't necessarily care what they think, or you want to not care. You'll get there eventually. It's really a matter of like trusting you and what your choices are and what you're doing. Maybe there was a time that you didn't, like you weren't doing the most honest thing. And not that it was intentional kind of thing, but you know, before you were healed, maybe you were making choices that didn't really align with who you wanted to be. And, you know, now it's an understanding of, hey, this isn't who I am anymore, and I have nothing to be ashamed of. I'm making the right kind of choices now, and no one gets to say what I, you know, like speak for me and say why I'm doing something. Okay. Four of Pentacles, Judgment, false document, well, documents, high honor reversed, dodging growth like it's homework, fear of change, comfort zone. You know, there's a sense of shame with like your growth. Maybe you feel like you should be farther along, or not making mistakes that you're making, like maybe repeating the past. And you know, you gotta, or fear of change, you gotta, you know, give yourself some grace. Change is hard for everybody, even healed people, even me. Good change is hard, but again, you might have made a decision recently that was like the wrong one, and you knew it was wrong. And again, it's kind of like some kind of contracts or something, so you feel kind of like ashamed of that, and like less of a person, and you shouldn't. It's done. So, you know, this time I feel like you learned your lesson. You're like, okay, I'm going to listen from now on. If you resonate with this is very specific. But, you know, don't beat yourself up. You're not perfect. Again, there's shame around perfection. This feels tied to your youth somewhere. Okay, red is very significant in this next row here. So sacral chakra is the name of the game here. So that's creation and sexuality. But it feels more like creation, yeah. Some of you have shame around, this is kind of tied to the caring about what people think, but like feeling any kind of insecurity or anxiety towards your connections, like even your good ones. I feel like that's what I was going to talk about. It's weird because I talked in one of my last videos that my psychiatrist, or the PA for my psychiatrist, upped my dose of Adderall. And I didn't talk about this piece though. I've noticed that if I wasn't on it, I would feel like my nervous system would be jacked right now. Excuse me. Release. And why it would be jacked is because I'm like, I feel safe and comfortable and happy, and that's like unusual for me. I mean, it's being happy has been getting more usual for me, but I just mean that, you know, waiting for something to go wrong kind of thing. So, you know, you might, this is kind of like a fear though, like of stepping forward and creating connections with people and, you know, really committing to them, like new beginnings kind of thing. And not like maybe you're of like the change piece, afraid of the new feeling, like that could be a fear. But there's definitely shame around people pleasing here. Oh, it's still going. Okay, good. Anxiety again. Anxiety. You have shame around anxiety, overthinking, worrying about, like I said, what people think, even people you care about. Shame around not like allowing people to kind of just show up, like instead of not forcing them, but kind of like maybe not being patient enough and waiting for them to show up, trying to control that outcome a little bit. But yeah, definitely over explaining or over analyzing, overthinking about people and situations. There's shame there. Six of Swords, Thief reversed, Mature man, Ritual, Blocked as fuck, Cut off, Disbelief, Avoidance is a thing here. So I was saying, like, you might have shame around like moving on too quickly, like not giving something a chance to come to fruition before you like jump ship. And there might be some shame around like feeling as though you, like, because you left the situation too soon or the person or whatever, feeling like you avoided something that could have been good, or that you just missed out, like you could have missed out on something. The like fear is coming up with a shame a lot, actually. The fear is that like you have it in your mind that it's not going to work anyway. So you're like trying to protect yourself, and in the meantime, you're potentially going away from something that really is good for you. You're afraid to, like, there's this fear of things being taken from you. Innocence is coming up, which is interesting because I mean, obviously you need to be an adult watching this, but you lost your innocence maybe young, and so like you don't want to give any of that, like any bit that you have left, away to anybody. But yeah, I feel like you're finding yourself in safer connections and safer spaces, and you're afraid to give it a shot because you don't know what the outcome is going to be, fear of the unknown. And you tend to move on before, or maybe it's not moving on, but not fully committing to the thing, the person. I feel like it's more tied to people. You know, you're not committing 100% to things, and there's definitely shame around there, because I feel like the people you're surrounded by now, you've got this mature man, people you're surrounded by now are in it to win it. Wow, four fours. I'm like, did I say four? Oh, five fours. So yeah, that's that. We've got the Magician reversed with the World, Obsession reverse, North Node, Surprise reverse, Overstimulated in public, Noise, Panic, Sensory bombardment, North Node, Fulfillment, Development, Alignment, Soul growth. You have shame around like who you are, part of who you are, because people made you feel like you were abnormal or not behaving correctly or you know, just unique, like for being unique, like people made you feel bad about that, which is not cool. You might have you might be somewhat introverted or, you know, I like on the spectrum is coming up. And those traits that you have that are part of you, like people made you feel bad for those. And there's a sense of shame and discomfort around when you're in public, especially like how you're perceived. So you need to heal that shame because like that goes back to the caring too much about what other people think, even people you don't know. Like, what do they get to throw their 2 cents in for? And actually, you might be surprised at how many people, I don't want to say that they're sympathetic, like they don't want to treat you differently because you're different. They just see you as you and how you should have been viewed in the first place. So get rid of that shame for sure. But there's a sense of shame around maybe not being prepared or not having what you need to do things the right way. I feel like that's coming to the close though with the world being here. So you're probably already working on that. I feel like this is something you're used to. You used to maybe obsess about it, but you're not now, which is good. I feel like you're making progress on this if you resonated with this one. Like understanding you are who you are and you're special, you're unique. It's not a bad thing. And whoever made you feel that way, shame on them, actually, okay? So 5 of Pentacles reversed with third party situation reversed with rising star. Mercury did it, miscommunication, cosmic excuse, retrograde, blame. This has been coming up a lot. You might have a tendency to, you might have some shame around like blaming situations or people for your downfall. You know, I've been thinking a lot about my work situation and how I struggle sometimes to go to work and, you know, understanding it's part of my ADHD, but also executive dysfunction and trauma. Some trauma is helping me understand where it's coming from so I can heal the shame around feeling like I feel lazy, but it's not that I'm lazy, which I'm trying to post a video about that. And unfortunately it's being weird. Like I'm not lazy. I just have a condition and I am working on solving the other 2 things because ultimately the medication will help me if I can, you know, heal my shame, heal my trauma, and work on executive functions. Like give myself or think about it as a reward when I do work. So you might find yourself doing something similar where maybe you're not blaming other people, but maybe you're blaming circumstances feel like a thing. You could be blaming the moon or retrograde, or I don't think it's retrograde right now, but you're meant to be you're meant to be a star, and you're holding yourself back out of shame. Maybe you did have people before who were kind of getting in the way of things for you. That is a truth, but it's not the truth anymore. So you have to let that go, okay? I need to drink water. You might have shame around your anxiety, specifically if you get overwhelmed by like situations or people, being around too many people. Like if you're introverted, you might have a tendency to disassociate or shut down. That's something that can be worked on too. I used to disassociate a lot, and like I didn't realize how much I was doing it. I didn't even know what it was at the time. And when I find myself zoning out, I know that's what I'm doing. So I catch myself doing it, and then I go, why am I doing this? Like, what's the reason? Like, there's a reason I'm disassociating right now. So you just ask yourself, what is triggering you? Why are you feeling so anxious? And, there's reasons that you're feeling that way, out of fear and shame for whatever it is. I want to get a couple more here. Facade. I knew that was going to come out. You have shame around anything that in your existence now that doesn't feel authentic to you. Anything that you, like if you're still putting on a brave face when you're really not comfortable, if you're still choosing your words carefully in order to look a certain way, if you're still pretending to like certain people or situations that you don't like not being honest with yourself, like there's shame around that. But especially if it's tied to people and maybe they can see through you, or maybe they know your situation and know that you don't like it, or like that's a shame piece for sure. And that goes back to childhood on presentations of family, like how your family was perceived, even though it wasn't the reality type thing. But that's a generational cycle that you're healing. Generations before us had a tendency to put things under the rug and keep it quiet, and you're not meant to do that. So if you're still doing that, that's something definitely to work on. There's shame around, this feels like a past thing, but it might be coming up for you to deal with. There's shame around not knowing stuff, like not having the answer, or being confused, or not knowing what to do. And that goes with insecurity too. Maybe somebody made you feel like not smart. I didn't want to say dumb, because you're not dumb. You are smart. You can't know everything. Nobody knows everything about everything. But yeah, there's definitely renewal came on the bottom of the deck. You're headed to new heights. You're going to be abundant for sure, financially, and success is coming for you like in a lot of different senses in your life. And I feel like you need to heal shame around, like maybe people have made you feel guilty for wanting success or being any kind of successful. And you need to get rid of that because you don't want to stop your success out of feeling bad for other people. Like maybe people around you aren't happy or not being very successful, but your success is going to bring other success around you. So allow yourself the, I almost said dignity. Well, maybe that's a term that applies here. You have the dignity and like you deserve the success. So you have dignity and you deserve success. I think that's it. This was a good reading. I feel kind of melancholy while I'm doing this reading. So shame might put you in that kind of space. You might feel a little bit, well, the disassociation feels important with this, but you might feel a little bit subdued when you feel shameful. So that's something to look out for, okay? I really hope this reading helped you. Thank you for staying to the end if you did. Any likes, shares, comments, subscribers to my channel are super helpful and appreciated. I'm trying to monetize all my social media, but this is YouTube. If you'd like to donate to my channel, it's not expected but appreciated. I have CashApp, Venmo, and PayPal. I will put that in the comments. I also have a phone line for my business where you can contact and do a reading on the phone if you don't like social media. You can text me, call me, whatever you want. And if you text me one time, I will give you a free message. And then I also have a booking site for one-on-one readings. I do video readings, which are a little cheaper than the one-on-one, so you might want to check those out. And I'd love to hear in the comments how you resonated with this reading or anything that you might want to hear about in the future. And again, I hope this helps you.